All right, so we have another pattern that we are looking at. This one is looking at the number of squares that we see. Again, if at any point you want to pause this and try it on your own, please do so. So in the first picture, we see 1 square. In the second picture, 1, 2, 3, 4. And by the way, I should clarify, this is just smaller squares. It doesn't say that. I will qualify that or clarify that because some of you are probably thinking that this one has 5 squares because there are 4 smaller ones plus the 1 larger one. So we are simply talking about the smaller number of squares that we notice. So there are 4. And in the third picture, there are 9 smaller squares. One of the things that you might notice with this pattern that is different from some of the other ones we've looked at, this goes up by 3, this goes up by 5. All of the other patterns we've looked at so far go up by the same number. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but that is a special word in math. When things go up by the same, they have a constant increase. We call them linear. They would make a line. When things do not go up by the same, so when the increase might be more rapid or slower, we call that non-linear, and it would make a curve if we were to draw it out. So that's just sort of something we're going to talk about later. So now the question is, if you had to predict, what do you think would be in the next picture? So what do you think is happening here? So this one is 1 by 1. This one is 2 by 2. This one is 3 by 3. The next one obviously would be 4 by 4. So 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 would be 16. Okay, so now again, before we get to the 50th picture, let's think about a formula. Now this formula is going to be very different from the other ones because the other ones were all what I said was that word linear. And they all seemed to have a little bit of a format of something x plus something. This one is not linear, and it will not follow that format. But what you hopefully notice is that all we are actually doing here is we are squaring the picture number. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9. So our equation will be x squared. So if we were to write that as an actual equation, y equals x squared, where y is the number of, I guess, smaller squares. Well, we'll make sure we specify, whoops, I can't spell squares. And x is the picture number. We could then use that to find the 50th square. And just do 50 squared and get our answer for that, which is going to be 2,500. And that will be our 50th. So this pattern is a little bit different because it does not go up by the same thing. It does not follow a linear pattern. It's a non-linear pattern. In this case, it's a square pattern. If you were to graph this one, it would end up looking kind of like a curve instead of like a line.